Hi everybody, this is Bobby with Bobby Stamps, and I have a card I'm going to share with you guys today. But first I want to talk about the new mini catalog. As you all know, it went live a couple of days ago, and I just want to tell you really quick a few of the page numbers. The stamp set that I'm using, well actually, hold on just a second and I think it's on page 17. Yes, it's this one. So it's the Parisian Beauty bundle, and you save 10% if you purchase it, the stamp set and the die, so it's $43. So that's what I'm going to be using today. And then what I originally was going to show you here on page 29 is this braided border punch. I'm also going to be using that today. And then also what's new is on page 71, I'm going to be using the Champagne Rhinestone Basic Jewels and the Parisian DSP right there. Okay, so let me move that out of the way. This video is going to be a little bit long. I'm just going to tell you now because it's kind of a detailed card. But here it is, and I think it is probably one of my favorite cards that I've ever made. And I don't know if you guys can see the shine. I'm going to try to hold it up there so you guys can see it. But I'll show you how I did that. And I am just in love with this card. Like I said, I think it is going to end up being one of my favorite cards that I've ever made. I was going to do the background in the champagne because I used the champagne foil, but I didn't have any of that embossing powder. So I'm going to use copper instead. And as you can see, it blends. It looks really good with it. So let me move that out of the way. Now, like I just said, I'm using, and this is the Parisian Blossom Specialty Designer Series paper I'm using. And then I'm also using, let me see, did I grab it? Yes, I'm using the Perennial Essence, the vellum. We're going to use that pink. And then, like I just said, I'm using the copper foil sheets. So this is in the annual catalog, and so is the Perennial Essence vellum paper. Okay, let me bring the rest of the papers in. So I just have a scrap piece of basic black that we're going to pop out the sentiment on. And then a couple of different of the champagne foil that we're going to use that little flourish design. And then I have a piece that is, I believe it was 3, let me measure it, 3 by 5.5, I think. Yes, 3, and I know it was 5.5. I actually cut it at 4.5. I thought it was 5.5. Let me measure that again. Yes, 4.5. Okay, and then I have a piece of Whisper White, and this piece I cut at 3 by 4.5. And then to save time, I don't know if you guys can see this, I just took my scissors and went to around the edge to de-stress it a little bit. So you guys can do that with your scissors. And then I just have a scrap piece of vellum, and this piece is cut at 2.5 by 5. And then I have a piece of DSP that's also cut at 3 by 4.5. And then I have a piece of Petal Pink that I cut at 4 by 5.25, and then my card base is Full Party, and that is 4.25 by 11, and then I scored it at 5.5. So let's just crease that really quick. And then I'm just going to go ahead and put this down really quick. And just because this has been embossed, and it's kind of a thicker, okay, we need some new glue, so let me grab a different bottle. Whoops. I'm going to use Tombow because it's just a little bit stronger than the snail. And we're just going to put this on here, and then we're going to get started really quick on the fun part. Okay, I'm just going to lay that out of my way for right now. Let's move all of these out of the way. We're going to start with our piece of Whisper White, and then the stamp sets I'm using is the Gallery Grunge and, like I just said, the Persian Beauty. So what I'm going to do with this one is I decided to take, I don't know, I guess this end is a little bit wider, and then I'm not even putting it on a block, I'm just doing this and then just kind of randomly turning it as I go. Now the first card, the one I just designed and made, I kind of focused on the center, but then I realized, you know, it would have looked better if I would have put it all around. So that's what I'm going to do this time. And then let me just move this out of the way. Whoops. So we're going to need our copper embossing powder. And then I used Versamark ink, for those of you that might be new, to ink up the image. And then just try to make sure that you're not grabbing where you might have just put some of that. I'm going to grab 2 scrap pieces of paper. So I'm going to grab this one, because I always get my embossing powder all over the place. So I'm just going to make sure that everywhere I stamped that, I'm going to get an image. And it doesn't really matter about the center, and it doesn't really matter here because those lines got on there, because it's going to really be covered. So I'm going to put that back in there. I'm just going to leave that there because we're going to be using it again in a minute. I'm going to turn on my heat tool. I'm going to set this off to the side for a minute. Then the next thing I want to do is bring in that vellum and the braided punch. And I'm going to start out with 2. I did 3, but I'm going to kind of change things up just a bit. And I may not like it, and I might like it better. We will see. Okay, let me move this back out of the way. Oh, and then I forgot to mention too, I wanted to make sure I showed you guys, the embossing folder was the Parisian Flourish 3D embossing folder. And that as well as in the new catalog. Let me clear this out of the way. And then I'm just going to cut these out. Okay, and then I'm just going to make sure I get these cut off there. Cut this one off. Now what I did the last time was I left these on here. And can you guys see? They're just kind of straight. I was thinking about cutting them in 2, but now that I look at it, I don't think I'm going to, because I'm kind of afraid that would make them too thin and they wouldn't really show up. So I think what I'm going to do is leave them, but I am going to cut one more. I'm going to pop one more out. Kind of makes a mess. Okay, let me move those. I just want to clear that trash really quick again. Okay, and then we're going to cut this again. And that's the beauty of this card. Nothing has to be done perfectly. Okay, let's go ahead and put these right here. Then the next thing that we're going to do is I have different pieces of the DSP from other projects and the design card I just made. So let's figure out which one we want to do. So we'll lay this here. And I'm thinking about, in this card, I did both pieces of the writing. Whoops. But I think on this one, just to bring in, because I decided to use the background later, I think I'm just going to bring in a piece of that. And I think I'm going to use this thinner piece. So I'm just going to cut this like that. Trying to save this where it's not going to get all messed up. And then I kind of wanted a thicker. This one's a little bit wider. So I think I'm just going to use those two. I'm just going to use 2 pieces. And move those out of the way. And then let's just kind of line up and see how we think that's going to look. Okay, we're going to kind of put that something like that. And this strip I'm making a little bit longer than I did the one in my original card. So let's go ahead. And before we do this, we have these pieces all ready to go. I'm going to grab my piece of vellum, and then I'm going to grab this stamped image right here, and my Versamark, and oh, let me grab my paper. Okay, so I'm going to stamp. And I'm going to go, I wanted to make sure that I did this. I want this one to be to the right. So I'm going to do this one kind of just right in the center. Then I'm going to do it again towards the right. And then again to the left. And just kind of doing a back and forth type thing. And we're going to tear the paper so it doesn't really matter. Okay, and I'm just going to try to look and make sure. Now I have this little pin or clip I think I got at Dollar Tree, and we're going to go in again with vellum or our embossing powder on our vellum. Okay, looks good. And again, I'm going to turn on the heat tool. And let's just let that dry just for a second. And while that's drying, I'm going to take my piece of Petal Pink, if I can find what I did with it. Let me see. Oh, here it is. I knew I tried to put everything right in front of me where I was going to be, but I have too much stuff today. So I'm going to take my 1-inch circle punch. Oops. Let's go ahead and I'm going to ink up the little stamp in Versamark. One more time, we have to heat emboss, and then we will be done with the noise. I'm just going to put the lid on this because I can see that as an accident for me waiting to happen. Move that out of the way. Turn the heat tool on again. And then just take the 1-inch circle punch and line it up. Pop it out. Okay, and then let me move this out of the way. Then we can start putting this all together. Okay, so what I'm going to do is grab my little silicone mat, and I'm going to put this scrap piece of paper back in here. Okay, and I'm going to take some of my Tombow glue and just squeeze it directly right there. And I'm just going to take a sponge that I used only for this purpose. First, let's go ahead and lay everything out and kind of make sure that we know where we want everything to go. So I'm looking at my little sample card. I think I'm going to kind of do it like that. That's kind of how I did the original one too. So let's go ahead and just put some glue and put that one down right there. And then we'll grab some more glue. Put one going off that way. And more glue. And put this one going down towards the bottom. Kind of like that. Okay. Then let's go ahead and we want to rip this first. And I ripped mine in small little pieces. I felt like the first one that I did, it wasn't really a lot visible. I mean, you could see it if you see it in person. I'm not sure if you guys can even notice it on the card, the way that I held it. But you just go all the way around. Kind of like that. And then we're going to put that there. And I'm going to rip it, I think up here. I want it a little bit shorter. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, that's pretty good. So what I did was I just used mini glue dots because there's so much going on this card that I don't think anybody's going to spot them. And I just put one in each corner. Whoops. Well, there we go. And then just kind of put that right in the center like this. Okay. Then I'm going to take my longer piece and I'm just going to see. Now before I put anything down, I want to see the tower, the Eiffel Tower, how big that is going to be. So I'm going to move this out of the way and we'll do that die cutting. I just want to make sure that I have everything the way I want it before I start. So let's go ahead. And this is the Parisian dies. I wanted to show you guys what all you get in this. So I've only got 2 in there that I'm not using, I guess. And I'm going to go ahead and put my magnetic plate on there. And I'm going to put the tower, and then we'll do one of these. These are very detailed. So I'm just going to kind of put that there, and then we can go ahead and do our sentiment while we're doing this. So let's just go ahead and make sure. This was a very tight fit, but if I lined it up perfectly, it was going to fit. I'm going to run this through more than once because it's a very detailed, that flourishes. Using the magnetic plate really helped a lot. Sorry about that, I had to turn my heat off. It's getting very, very hot in here. Okay, so let's pop the tower out. We'll lay it right there, and then I'm just going to lay the sentiment right there too, and then we'll pop this out. It popped out perfectly. Let me make sure that I got everything, and then we'll just run this one through. Since that one popped out so good, I think I'm just going to do it 3 times, and hopefully that will work. Move this out of my way. Grab that. Fix my big shot that is about to fall off my table. And then we'll just pop these out. I don't want to rip it. I'm trying to keep all my dies up there so I don't lose any or they fall accidentally in my trash can. Little piece stuck. There we go. Just remove all those centers and don't forget this one down here. So there's one. That's trash. There's 2. And then we'll do this. You know what? I grabbed the wrong die when I cut out that tower, so I'm going to have to grab my other die and redo that. Okay, so that is our sentiment then, but let me show you what I mean. I just now looked over there and I was like, that doesn't look right. So this one is the solid, and this one has the intricate, and you could use either one. I mean, it would look pretty, but I want the one that I originally used. So I will grab that correct die and I'll be right back. So my new piece I cut is 3 by 5 1/4, and you can see that is a pretty good fit. So let's go ahead and die cut this out. I knew something was wrong when I didn't have all the little bits that I needed to poke out. And this one, again, I'm going to run it through a couple of times. It just makes it easier to pop all those out. And I used my die brush. Oh, there goes my dies. I'm just trying to grab it out of my basket. And that just makes it so much easier. So just... Okay, oh, there goes my bristles. Move that out of the way and clear this all out of the way. I think it's time I order one. This is the very first one I've ever ordered when the brush first came out, so I'm due for a new one. Just make sure you get all the little ones that are supposed to be poked out. And it's really easy if you flip it over and look from the back, but right now I'm having a pretty easy time seeing them all. I think I got them all. Okay. I'm just trying to look and make sure. I think I have them all. Okay, now let's bring this back in because I want to kind of lay it out and see where everything is going to be. And then that will help me decide. Okay, and our tower doesn't fit quite on the piece of Whisper White, but you can either do it like that and have a little bit hangover on each, or you can move the feet up and just have the top of it hang over just a little bit. And that's how I did it in my original one. And I think that looks pretty good right there. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to put a little bit of Tombow on the strip of DSP. Oops. I just like to make sure I have my paper going the right way too for the writing, which it's kind of hard to tell, I guess, with that small of a strip. So let's just put that like that. And then we'll go ahead and put this piece down. So just put more Tombow there. And I know the video is long, guys. I'm trying my best to hurry. Just kind of put that right there like that. And then this was my favorite fun part of making this card. Let's move this over just for a minute. And I need my silicone mat. So I'm going to bring that in. And I forgot to mention at the beginning, I'm going to use the Frost White Shimmer paint, and you have to shake this up really good before you use it. So I'm just going to give it a good shake. And I'm just going to put a little bit more than I originally used on my first card because I really wanted more. Then I'm going to take my Petal Pink Reinker, and I'm just going to put one drop like that. And then I know I have my paintbrush right here. Oops, got some of that on me. Just swirl it around so you can get it mixed in good with the paint. Okay, and then let me grab another scrap piece of paper really quick. And what I'm going to do is I just have this little paintbrush thing. And we're just going to paint this whole thing. And you even want to get the white. So we're just going to go over everything. And this is what is giving you that nice shimmer. Now, one thing I didn't do on the original card was I didn't do the sentiment, and I do want to make sure that I do it this time. Okay. Now, the next thing, I'm just going to leave that right there so it can kind of dry. The next thing that I did was I took my Crumb Cake Reinker. I'm just going to, I don't want to waste any of that, so I'm going to get what I have off that brush. Okay, let me move that over here. So I'm just going to take my Crumb Cake Reinker, 1 drop, my aqua painter. We're just going to swirl that around. And then we're just going to go in all over. Okay. Grab a tissue to dry that off. I'm just going to dot that up because I don't want to worry about my flirty flamingo, but this is what we're going to use next. And again, that's 1 drop. More water, swirl it all around, and we're going to do the same thing, just kind of all over. Okay, and that's it. Dry this. Now I'm going to have to transfer this video over before I can finish, so I'll be right back. Okay guys, I am back. This dried a little bit and I went ahead and dried it with the air tool or the heat tool too, so that way we could kind of try to save time on the video since it was taking so long. Now I did forget to dab this, so I'm just gonna pick up a little bit more of that. It doesn't have to have that much, just as long as it's got that sheen. And there's still enough on my brush that there does, so I'm going to move that right there. Now the other thing that I'm going to do different is I'm going to take a little bit of crumb cake, just a small dab, and then use my aqua painter to water that down again and swirl it around. And then I'm just going to flick all over, and then you can just dab. Oh, that is so crazy of me. I can't believe I did that. That is a diaper wipe instead of a Kleenex. So let's do it again. And if you don't like this look, you can definitely omit doing it. But I like it. I was going to do it on the first one and forgot. And while I was waiting, I'm going to tell you the truth, I went ahead and did it on the first one a little bit, just so I could kind of see. I didn't want to do a whole lot. This one I'm doing more with. So I'm going to clean that up, and I'm just going to wipe this off really quick because we're going to have to put some more glue on here in just a minute for the Eiffel Tower. Let me throw this away. Okay, now I'm going to turn the heat tool on again because I want to dry that. And you can see if you want more of it, you can go back and put more of it on there, or just leave it. I'm going to leave mine because I'm happy with that. Now let's bring my card base in, and we're going to take the piece of DSP and we're just going to kind of line it up like that, and then we'll put this piece there. And I love how that paper lifted, and if that bothers you when it dries, you could go back in there with that brush or or put it, if you don't like the look of that, you can hold it down with the mini glue dots, but with putting the tower on there and everything, I think it's going to be fine. So I'm just going to put some Tombow on here. And then I'm just going to leave a small border around the top, and this side is what I'm looking at. Okay. And I'm going to do the same with this. You can put your tower on first, or just do it like I'm doing it right now. It doesn't really matter. And I'm just going to try to make sure I have the same amount on this side as I do that side, and at the bottom as I do on the top is what I'm looking for. Now, what I did when I was waiting for this to dry to here, I just put a couple of my punches on it. And that kind of helped hold everything down. But I didn't bring any over here with me. I don't have anything really heavy right now, so I'm just going to hold it myself. Okay. And I think I'm going to put just a little bit more Tombow right in here because it's not wanting to. I must have missed that spot. Hopefully I didn't put too much or it's going to run out. I'm going to need some of this, and it's almost empty, so I'm going to put the lid on it and turn it upside down while I'm holding that. We're almost done, I promise. Okay, so I'm going to squirt some Tombow here, like I just said. I'm going to put quite a bit because I'm going to need quite a bit. Now, let's go ahead and position and just kind of see where we're going to want to put that. And I think that, and I do like the way this one has turned out. I like that I made this piece bigger, and I like that I used the different color because it ties it in. It doesn't kind of like blend all in together. So I really, really like that. Now, this little stamp, I'm going to put a couple of dimensionals on the back. I'm not going to stick it down yet. I want it to go right here, but we need to put our little flourish things. We're going to put them behind there. So we're going to put one kind of like, and I like to leave this lay there so I can kind of visually see where it's going to be. And then I'm going to take this one and we're going to put it going this way. So let's go ahead and take this off. And what we can actually do is we will take this and stick it, make sure you have it go in the right direction. We will stick one there and then put the other one on the other dimensional, if I can get my finger out from underneath there. Just like that. And then, oops, I might have turned that just a little bit too much. Let me take this one off. Oops. Because I put it on there at an angle too much, so let me peel that off and start over. So we want this here. I just want to make sure it's not going off my card. Kind of like that. And then that one like that, so that looks better. And then we'll just place it right there. And you could use more adhesive on the back of there. I'm going to rip that up and put just a little bit. I'm just going to dab just a little bit, and then just dab all over that. And then I kind of wipe that up. Maybe get a little bit more in there. Okay. And then I was going to do this card for my Wednesday Facebook Live, but it's just too, as you can see, it just takes too much time, so I opted not to do that. Because I do those and then I have to go to work as soon as I'm done. Okay, so then I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm just going to brush that all over the back of my tower. Okay, and then just peel that up. And then we'll just put this right there. And this you do need to hold down for a little bit, let it take a hold before you try to let go. And then I even took the other one, but I can't do it on this one. But as you can see, I took the little flourish and brought it around. But I'm afraid I would rip it. I might be able to. Yep, I can. So we'll just pull that out like that. I feel like my fingers are sticking to my card. Okay, I'm gonna let that go because you guys, the video is forever. You guys can put something that weighs something on there to help hold that down. And we're gonna bring this back in again. And I'm gonna need just a little bit more glue. I hope you guys like this card because I really think it is my favorite card that I've ever made. And if you don't like it, it's going to hurt my feelings. I'm not going to lie. Because I love it. I told my son, he's here right now visiting, and I told him that it was, I think I just made my favorite card that I've ever made. And then we're just going to put this, if I can get it to quit sticking to my fingers. So I can see that's got a little piece of paper stuck. There we go. And then we're just going to put this. I want to lift this piece up though because I want to have that hanging over that bottom. Okay, and then I'm going to take my piercing tool and just grab that and put it over the top. Okay, and then let's grab some of the rhinestones and then we can lay that down. And I put, let me see, one of the larger ones in the corner up here. And then I put two of the smaller ones right underneath it, and we can put one right there on that paper, that's fine. And then grab another one and put right, I'm going to put that one right there because I don't want to cover up the emboss piece. And then I put one down in the corner, but I had more of the white left on my original card, but I'm going to go ahead and stick that one right on that pink. And I'll show you my original and this one, and I honestly think I like this one better than my original. I got a little bit messy because I had to do the splatter after it was already put together. Like I said, when I was downloading that video, that's when I did that. But I love this card and I hope that you guys like it too. Thanks so much.